I'm going to prove to you why Callie is not a bad operator. Today, we're going to talk about 6 underrated operators that you should consider adding to your ranked rotation. So dudes, first up on attack is Nokk. Nokk's pick rate hovered towards the back end of the pack in the Year 9 Season 4 win delta. The reason for this, along with every other entry operator right now, really just comes down to another $1 trillion to Israel Ashe R6. Despite this, other entries besides Ashe do exist, and Nokk is a self-sufficient fragger. Her ability to take backstab routes that Ashe can't do as safely makes for great quality of life. Whereas Ashe needs to shoot down the default camera and potentially telegraph where she's going to go if an astute enemy team is checking cameras like they're supposed to. Nokk basically ignores that. Another cool thing about Nokk is that unlike other more conventional entries, her kit can be tailored to anything. Help with the wall with EMPs, blow up utility with frags, or open a spare hatch with a can opener. If you want to be technical about it, you get everything you normally like about Ashe, but on an operator that has some fun little stealth gimmicks. However, I think another reason Nokk isn't considered as much is because her FMG9 just doesn't have the same kind of sauce the R4C has. To make up for this, you can tactical LARP with a suppressor, even though it doesn't help you with your recoil. You'll have to pull down hard, but you'll look cool doing it. Another operator that looks cool but isn't played as much is Solis for the defense. This video was sponsored by me. If you want to get some merchandise that looks cool and supports my channel, go to gwenposting.shop and consider getting an estrogen mug. Or a regular mug. Not saying you can't get an estrogen mug, but some people, your household might look at that and be like, what's going on there? And you can say, well, I love estrogen. We also got a Dude's hat. Isn't it beautiful? Go to gwenposting.shop to get one. Now, a lot of people don't like Solis after the nerfs. And I will admit that I'm eating crow on this point in particular. I thought that Solis wasn't going to be very good after the kind of half rework she got half a year ago. You might think I found some kind of complex hidden gadget tech, but the reason I like playing Solis is because she gives me an excuse to roam with a shotgun SMG-11 combo. I know it's not really that complicated. Normally I have to play a side anchor for that sort of thing. Solis isn't Valkyrie, or a Vigil, or even a Doc, who are all suited to deep roams and are played more often in ranked. Vigil is difficult to track down, Valkyrie can give her and her team aggressive gunfighting opportunities anywhere on the map, and Doc is thick. But Solis' shotgun gives me opportunities to set up vertical pressure or kill opportunities. One of the cool things about her gadget is that it helps you avoid the most common way to get killed when setting up vertical, getting shot in the butt while you're setting it up. With Solis, you don't have to worry about that hidden info of a drone underneath a dresser or something. You can just look around the room real quick. All right, I'm good. Her ability to read where drones are coming from can also substitute a similar role Valkyrie would fill if she's banned in your lobby. She's not a trap operator like Legion, and she doesn't have an ACOG like Doc. But if you're patient with Solis, she'll get you some easy picks, or at the very least, set them up with some info. Speaking of which, our next attacker is an info character too. Iana is an often overlooked entry support hybrid, mainly ever since she had her frag grenades taken away a long time ago. Another key consideration is that her elite skin, Ashe is Ashe with the R4C and can blow up util, Twitch is Twitch, and can counter Mira and shoot defaults. And now IQ has her nades back, while Iana does not, which is kind of funny how that worked out. But while Iana isn't as dedicated as an entry as she used to be, I still like her because of her infinite droning ability. I call it infinite droning, even though it's not really infinite, because that's kind of what it is in effect compared to her peers. You never have to worry about running out of information gathering tools with Iana, because her clone can be used to help you get map control or get an idea of what's ahead just about every stage of the round. And again, we keep going back to modularity here. If you do run into a piece of bulletproof utility that's going to irritate you, you can bring a Gon 6, and if you need to open the wall, you have EMPs. The fact that Iana has usability that scales throughout the round is something that you don't really get with any other entry fraggers or even other supports. They have tools that have limited supply. Some supports like Dekebi have a limited amount of uses on their gadget, while Iana just keeps on cloning. Also, she has a G36 with an ACOG, which is an absolutely respectable primary weapon. And if you like the G36, our next operator on defense is going to be fun for you as well. You'll really like Skopos' gun. I forget the name of it. Fans of the channel know that I am Skopos' strongest soldier, Siege's only teleporting operator. And yes, I'm gonna keep calling the mechanic that, because that's what it is. No, I don't care if it's, quote, unrealistic. Blitz lean spamming in year 1 wasn't realistic either. The reason Skopos doesn't get as much play as other lurkers is because people tend to gravitate towards more straightforward characters like Doc or Legion. Legion especially has a high effective floor because those goo mines are always going to get some kind of usefulness. But if you look at Skopos' win delta, it's actually pretty high right now. And I think that's because Skopos attracts a certain kind of player that's going to be really attached to this kind of mechanic. You do run some risk compared to a Dock or a Rook, because with Skopos, it's a bit more in the air as to whether you're going to get something out of the teleport or the shield camera. Now, I happen to think that the combination deployable shield and bulletproof camera is one of the better combinations out there, to be rivaled by the combination KFC and Taco Bell. Another food joke to Gwen posting TTV, I am not beating the fat maxing allegations. Either way, there's no operator in Siege that provides a mobility advantage plus a utility provision in the same way that Skopos does. A smart Skopos can play for really extended deep roams and make the enemy waste as much time as possible trying to deal with her just before she teleports back to site and then leads the rest of the attackers on a wild goose chase. Not a lot of people like Skopos. If they're going to go for that deep roam, they're going to play something more conventional. But I'm not like most girls. That's probably the most basic white girl shit I've ever said in my life. Our next operator isn't so basic, and that's Callie. Callie is kind of the black sheep of the attacking roster, but that leaves more room for people like me who like to take advantage of her op. Basically, everybody on the attacking roster with a DMR like Twitch, Dekebi, and even Blackbeard to a certain extent are going to take the angle holding role from her a lot of the time. But in the right circumstances, that automatic one-shot down, if not a kill, does mean something, because for linear sight hits, Callie is good at preventing peeks when your team wants to take space. And she can kind of entry whiff it a little bit too if you can ES it. Just like you conventionally would with an op and Counter-Strike. You just sit and hold something from a long distance and prevent crosses. This can come in handy during the post plant as well as the initial sight hit. Something else that is severely overlooked is her ability to work as a castle counter. If the enemy has a castle setup on a lot of building exterior windows, for example, Callie can shut that setup down completely by herself from a safe distance and hold the crosses from a distance as well. She's difficult to contest, of course. If you're a bot like me, you can contest me often, but sometimes I win my ones and, not too bad. Most people don't like Callie because she's a little bit unconventional in playstyle, and the sniper rifle can be a hindrance for more direct engagements when you need to clear angles one by one, but she still has utility destruction ability and a good machine pistol. She's seriously one of the most underrated and slept on operators in the game, if you ask me. The last operator on this list has been overshadowed by the big furry on campus, Fenrir, but if you ask me again, I prefer playing her to Fenrir. I'm talking about Melusi. The rework of Melusi's playstyle still lingers with some people. One day she used to rule the world with a gadget meant for an anchor and a kit for a roamer, making her by far the most powerful defender in the game at release. Those days are long gone, but she's still one of my favorite side anchors in the game, and her win rate is pretty good if you look at this chart. So why don't people play her more if she's so effective? Well, to be frank, the MP5 is a pain in the butt to use without an ACOG, and most people would rather play the T5. And any free armor without the option for an ACOG makes a lot of people want to run through a wall. Melusi can, of course, stop anybody from running through a door frame, and that's what she is, essentially. She is the door frame operator. She makes going through door frames or up staircases a huge pain in the butt. And if you like the playstyle of the more popular Legion, but want to try something different, Melusi is your gal. She has a pocket shotgun, so really she's a well-rounded side anchor these days. Usually people will lean in the direction of a mute or a Cade because they have wall deny, and Melusi does not. So she is a bit of a one-trick pony, and the effect of the slowing Melusi web isn't as scary or intrusive as the Fenrir near sight, which I still think you make up for by getting 4 of these things, whereas Fenrir can only keep 2 mines active at a time, and they can be shot at from a distance. Melusi's webs are bulletproof unless you get in the effective radius of them, so in some ways they get more mileage than Fenrir. For all those reasons, I think you should consider throwing a Melusi into your setup over Fenrir if you feel like it. Let me know what operators I missed in the comments. Thanks for watching. Deuces.